So with summer rolling in, it's gonna get really hot for us in Los Angeles area. Thankfully, one of the best ways to cool off is to go hit the beach with your friends and have fun. Unfortunately, that fun could really turn to tragedy very quickly. Just recently, there was a 20-year-old from Michigan that went to go visit Cancun with his friends, and while at the beach here, one of his friends unfortunately got caught in a riptide. The 20-year-old jumped in and thankfully saved his friend, but at the same time, after the rescue, he got tired and ended up getting caught in the riptide himself. With no energy to get out of the riptide, he ended up actually getting pulled out and eventually drowned. I've always been a good swimmer myself, and I've pretty much swam in any body of water you could think of. Swam in beaches, lakes, rivers, pretty much anything. But the idea of me being a good swimmer changed about 5 years ago. I was at Huntington Beach with my friends, and one of my friends dared me to swim to the pier. And I did it. And when I was swimming out, I realized that I was getting pulled out from the shoreline a lot faster than I was swimming. And I didn't realize it, but I got caught in a riptide. And when I realized it, I tried to swim back, but trying to fight the current wasn't working. And before I knew it, I was getting really tired, and I honestly didn't know what to do. Thankfully, there was a surfer that did see me, and he actually ended up letting me grab onto his surfboard and kind of paddled me back to shore. And to be honest, if he wasn't there, honestly, I don't know what would have happened. According to NOAA Mag, published in 2002, riptides actually account for about a third of weather-related deaths in the US, which is a crazy number to think about because that actually ranks higher than both tornadoes and hurricanes. And we all know how devastating those could be here. So today let's dive into riptide awareness. And first I'm gonna talk to you guys about riptide fatalities. Then I'm gonna talk to you about what can lead to riptide deaths. Then I'm gonna talk to you about how to be prepared for riptide and how to react if you're ever caught in one. So riptides are a silent danger. Honestly, a lot of people that go to the beach don't even know what a riptide is. And actually about 80% of beach rescues in the US are riptide related. So it's actually more than shark attacks or boats sinking or any of that, which is a crazy percentage to really think about. And according to NOAA Mag, published in 2002, that actually counts about 100 deaths yearly. And like I said, that's more than both hurricanes and tornadoes in the US. Some reported cases, according to Palm Beach Post, published in 2019, there was 14-year-old Vasquez Ramirez swimming in the Solca area with his family. And while on the beach with two other kids, they were playing around and ended up swimming a little too far. Like I said, they weren't under adult supervision, so they got really far until the parents noticed that the kids were gone. With the lifeguards being deployed, they went out and were able to rescue two of the kids. But unfortunately, Ramirez was not found and eventually ended up drowning. And according to UPI Top News in 2024, in Florida Bay, there was a very similar case. There was three middle-aged friends swimming in the Florida waters, and while having too much fun, they ended up getting caught in a riptide, and before they knew it, they were way too far out. And with no one else there besides them, they unfortunately ended up drowning, and their bodies were found a couple of days later. And it really just goes into show this can happen to just about anyone. Like I said, Vasquez was about 14 years old, and the other three gentlemen were about middle age. So it doesn't matter how old you are, how good you think you are, this can happen to just about anybody. So what leads to riptide deaths? The main thing is underestimating the water. According to Good Morning America, published in 2023, a sheriff being interviewed on a recent riptide death was talking about, it doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are not stronger than the water. The beach will always be more powerful than you are. And it's also, if you've ever been to the beach that has or has had previous incidents with riptides, there'll always be signs posted. They'll always say that the tide is dangerous or anything like that, but you should always pay attention to the signs because many people don't, and they end up swimming in waters that are a lot stronger than their ability to swim. And like I mentioned, the tide is very strong. According to AP Regional State Report in 2024, a riptide current can move about 8 feet per second. So within a minute, you could be super far out into the ocean and no one will be able to save you. And this is also dangerous because this could tire you out. It happened to me. I was swimming and I was really young at the time. I had lots of energy. I could swim for as long as I can, but fighting the current and trying to fight against it is not a good idea. And like I said, it tires you out, and with no more energy to keep yourself afloat, you can end up drowning. So how could you be prepared for this? One of the best ways to identify a riptide from the shoreline is watching dark spots in the water. This is actually because the underwater currents, which is the riptide, can hit the sandbank on the ocean floor, and when it rises up, it creates discoloration in the ocean, so it appears to be dark spots. And according to Natural Hazards and Earth Science, published in 2017, you should also be wary of calm water. If you're ever at the beach and you're looking at the waves crashing, you can see in the distance little white lines, which is usually waves in the beach or in the ocean. And sometimes you see spots where there are no waves. That's what you want to be wary of, because the underwater currents actually make it so no waves could kind of happen on top, because the actual pool is on the bottom. So you should always watch out for dark spots and calm areas of water. And my visual aid here would show a great example of that. So you could also see little dark spots right there, and you can see the waves crashing here and here, and here it's calm water, and that's what you really want to be wary of. So how do we react to a riptide if you ever caught one? The first one is remain calm. If you start panicking and wasting all your energy, you'll be tired and drowning before you even know it. And according to Washington Post, published in 2000, experts say to swim parallel to the current. So if the ocean's pulling you out this way, you want to swim to the side. It's the best way that offers least resistance, so you won't get tired out pretty fast. Like I said, if you're trying to fight the current, you're gonna get tired, and before you know it, you're gonna start drowning. And if no one's there to help you, then it's very dangerous. So, in conclusion, today we went over riptide fatalities. Then second, we went over what causes riptide deaths, and third, we went over how to spot a riptide and how to prepare yourself if you've ever caught a riptide. So next time you're at the beach cooling off in the summer heat, and having fun with your friends and hitting the water, just try to remember this speech, because it can help you or your friends. And it's always important to stay safe and have fun. So thank you, and try to remember the speech. And then here are my slides.